Hello and welcome to 125-129 Stein. We're in the Patch neighborhood of Carondelet in the city of St. Louis. This is one of the oldest neighborhoods in St. Louis. It's very similar in architecture to what you find in parts of Carondelet and some of the first neighborhoods in the city. However, it was a small town. Carondelet started originally as its own independent city and before being absorbed into St. Louis as a whole. And Patch is the southern district of Carondelet. So very residential, a little quieter than Soulard, but same great architecture. And what we have here is a two-family building, which is built in 1890 according to the tax records, and we do have a double lot. So, and we're on the corner. So we come around. You can see the side. And then we have the rear yard with the gate. We'll see that when we go through the back. But this started out as a commercial property. You can see where these front windows are. That was probably store windows or something like that. And then let me back up and we can get a little bit of a look at the detail here on the ceiling, or on the roof trim. That's what I meant, the crown. Some neat brickwork up there. And let's check out the inside here. So we're going through the first floor initially. And this is let me adjust the light there. Let there be light, and there was. The first floor unit is a one-bedroom, but it is a gigantic one-bedroom unit. And it's so bright in here, you wouldn't believe it. We just adjust the light a little bit more. Tile floor, ceramic. Everything has been updated. And they did keep the ceiling height. These ceilings are probably, I'm going to say, maybe 11 feet high. Very high for a commercial building, as was what was usually done. Again, coming through, we have the bathroom. Nicely tiled shower with kind of a geode pattern. And same thing on the floor there. And we have the bedroom next to us. That looks good. This is a king-size bed, so you can see how much room there is in this bedroom. The high ceilings make it look smaller than it is. We do have in-unit laundry. And of course, the utilities are on the main floor as well, or utility room rather. And then we have the kitchen at the rear. So the owners are presently living in this unit, and the upstairs is currently vacant. So a buyer could decide to live on whichever side they wanted to, and then either rent out the other one or maybe use it as an Airbnb. So again, everything's new, ceramic tile flooring in here. All new appliances. They've done a really good job on this restoration. It's not just kind of a slap together multifamily like you see. And the backyard is one of the main bonuses to this property. We have sun today, unlike before, so I'm having to constantly adjust the lighting here. So, coming around, we have a nice brick patio, which is also the driveway, with a remote automatic gate. It's level. And there's more scope for gardening or other work as you'd like around the yard. Nice little fire pit at the back. So as we look at this building here, I just want to point out something we don't see too much. These stars. So if you've ever been to some cities like Charleston, you see these a lot. Here they're used to keep the sides of the building together. Oftentimes they'd put these in when the buildings were built, and they're ties. There's an iron bar that goes from one end of the building to the other, and that ties the building together, and then the star is like a decorative final on it. So that's something that you see. I saw them in Charleston, and there apparently they started using them after the earthquake because it was not too kind to the masonry buildings. Looking at the back of the building here, we have a membrane roof, which is new. And then this door is the entrance to the larger upstairs unit. Coming inside, let this adjust a little. So the upstairs unit also contains the basement, which we'll go to at the end. Look at this staircase. This is beautifully built, woodwork on this. And then they tuck pointed and sealed all of the brickwork on the staircase to give it the rustic look. And you can see here some of the original finishes to it. This was probably, looks like it was a window. I don't know, maybe this was the rear wall at one time here, and then the building was extended later because it had a window going from the building to the building. But as we come back around and look, you can get a good view of all of this. Looks like there was another window up here too. We're going to come around into the living and dining. This is really loft-like space, but again, in your own building and with a really good-sized yard. Into the kitchen here. Looking at the kitchen, we have nice dark cabinets, nice color tile backsplash, granite countertops as downstairs, obviously dishwasher, microwave, and a pantry. Flooring here is modern oak. So it's pre-finished oak, so that's really nice to have. And again, we have 2 bedrooms. This is the front one. Really good size and great light in here too. Ceilings up here are about 10 foot, it looks like. Not quite as high as downstairs, which was the commercial unit. And this is probably the owner's original house, because oftentimes in these smaller commercial buildings, they would have had their shop downstairs and then lived above it. So coming around here, we have the second bedroom. And again, really good size, especially with that ceiling height. These floors are also very level in this building, which is unusual for a building of the 1880s, 1890s. They're usually a little bit hilly. You walk up and walk down. This one feels very level. Have a in-unit laundry. Utility room. And a bathroom. A nicely tiled shower. Vanity and mirror. And then this building, this unit, interestingly, has even more space to its own. So this would be the one that if you were looking to have more space, would be the one to make your own home, because it has access to the basement. Now, unlike many of these basements, it's actually surprisingly usable. It's had the floor refinished, so it's a concrete floor. It was probably originally dirt, and it's been dry locked. And since there's no utilities down here, no furnaces, hot water heaters, anything like that, it could be converted into further living space. Obviously, you couldn't put a bedroom down here, but it could be a really good family room or something like that. Because, again, we also have a sump pump and radon system. So this basement is ready to go. Whoever did this really threw everything at this building to make it great. And I think they did an excellent job. Stairs are a little steep because they're on the original pattern, but it's not too bad. Certainly, they're wide enough, which is good because of the way they're cut. You can climb them easily. And then I will end back here in the backyard. I hope you've enjoyed the video. Please remember to like and subscribe. And let me know if you have any questions about the property or any others. Thank you.